You know, making comedy things is really stressful, and making horror things is really funny. Hello, my name is Mike Skinner from the streets, and I am going to be watching some of my own stuff for the very first time since I made it. So wish me luck. I may have somewhat of an emotional collapse, but at least it will be good television. This is my video for Don't Mug Yourself.
A new day, another morning after, leaning back on my chair in a greasy spoon cafeteria.
This was all done on a set in a studio. It was the first time I really encountered show business because, yeah, all of this was made by carpenters out of wood. They built the cafe first, and then we filmed that, and then as we were filming the cafe, they were building the living room. And then when we were filming the living room, they were taking the cafe down. So what you don't see is the trail of destruction behind us as we were moving through these sets. Yeah, and I just couldn't believe at the end of the day, they just tore the whole thing down and threw it in the bin. Absolutely everything that you see here was put into the bin. That's a Dolce & Gabbana zip-up top. Whenever I see me like on Instagram or whatever, I always wonder where the clothes went. I had so many nice clothes. Oh yeah, that pint, look at that pint. That was, I remember that. They drilled a hole in the bottom of the pint. They like sucked it out so that the pint went down. I might do that again actually, that was a great effect. Look at that phone machine. Oh yeah, this darts was funny. That was really weird because I had to watch Calvin and I really had no idea where the darts were going. It was a different time. I was very young. 22 maybe. Great video. Great video. And yeah, it's quite weird because a lot of the songs I've been singing them for years. I've ended up singing them quite differently to how they were recorded, just because I haven't heard them recorded. No, I don't really, I don't look back. Okay, so this is Weak Become Heroes.
Let's get to the nitty gritty. Tune reminds me of my first D. Like unique, still 16 and feeling horny. Point to the sky, feel free. See a people all.
This was actually shot in a club where we're performing in a few weeks. It's in Kingston in West London. One lesson I learned on this was that if you're shooting a nightclub scene, you don't necessarily need to be drinking. I was drinking a lot that day, and oh, that's a Versace double denim. Yeah, that was great. I love that outfit. Don't know where that is. I mean, it wouldn't fit me now, of course, but I could always give it to my children. It's quite boring doing music videos. You have to keep doing the same thing over and over from a different angle. And it turns out that if you're actually partying, you get very tired very quickly. Oh, that's my niece. My niece there, Rosie. I mean, she would have been about 17 there. Just as we're exiting the club, the girl on the right, that's my niece. She now works at Boiler Room. She's got a very good job doing DJs, being filmed on the internet. How life changes. God, I'd forgotten. I've literally, yeah, I've not. This is crazy. Blinded by the lights.
That's the one. Oi. How did he not find a baggie?
This was shot by Adam Smith. It was his idea to make this video at a wedding, because obviously the song is just sort of in a nightclub. I mean, this was probably the first thing I did where it was like, you know, acting. It's not a bad performance. It's not as good as I remember though. I've always had an obsession with like sweat. I think if you want to show someone who's like really going for it, you need lots of moisture on their face. That really sells the effect. We did that in the film. In the film I just shot, there was a guy who was supposed to be a bit off his head, and I was just spraying his face with water the whole time. Yeah, I remember this bit. We had to reshoot this fight scene quite a few times. It was quite intense because they were really, you know, pushing me around and stuff. So yeah, that bit where I get punched at the end, he definitely gave it his all. Dry your eyes.
In one single moment, your whole life can turn round. I stand there for a minute, staring straight into the ground, looking to the left slightly. Then
so this was Johan Renck, a rapper making his foray into directing, and I was a rapper being directed by a rapper making his foray into directing. People tend to come up to me in the middle of the night and share stories of either when their girlfriend dumped them or when their dad died. That happens to me quite a lot. You know, making comedy things is really stressful, and making horror things is really funny. And when you make something sad like that, it's nothing. There's nothing sad about it. It's in the editing that it becomes sad, you know. Fred again, Desert Island Duvet.
Two people on a carpet with light around the curtains. Two people from a circus on a flying carpet.
I'd always had this idea of doing something with a projector. I thought it turned out really well. I went over to his studio and we basically just didn't do anything, basically. We just sort of sat there and chatted. I'm not very good in the studio. I tend to just like chat. And then at the end of the day, I was like, oh, just play me some stuff. And when I heard this, I really liked it. So then I wrote some stuff and sent it back to him. He's incredibly talented. Like, no, I shouldn't say talented because I don't like that word, but he's incredibly skilled. He's an incredibly accomplished musician. And he's been writing songs for years, huge songs. So as a musician, it's like, yeah, no, that's what you want to see. It's a joy to work with him. Troubled Waters, yeah. So this is obviously one that I do remember because I literally handed it in about 2 weeks ago. This is mostly footage from the film, just slightly rearranged. Every single shot in it I can remember doing, but because I only did it a few weeks ago. The club that's in this, most of it, is Warehouse Project in Manchester, and then also Hoxton Hall in London, and then Club Live in Manchester. Yeah, I mean, I shot all of the clubs that I shot are my favourite clubs. It's very trippy, this bit, but it's kind of it's just that bit of the film where you're sort of first introduced to this world. So there's a lot of jiggery pokery going on with the images. There's a lot of like VFX. Obviously, the story itself is fictional, but the actual events are what they say they are, you know. I mean, it's almost documentary, really, part of it. But then it's kind of got this story that's been laid over the top.
Ein Song reicht. Verdammter Mike Skinner. Kate Nash, Licky Lee.
Mike Skinner, Kate Nash, Licky Lee, Tame Impala, The Killers, Florence and the Machine. Well, that's a good concept. Imagine if this song reminded you of an ex-girlfriend as well. And then you could make a song about listening to this song and it reminding you of an ex-girlfriend. And then someone could hear that song about this song reminding you of an ex-girlfriend. I think it's the duty of the next generation of German musicians to make a song about this, reminding them of a girl. And so that the tradition can go on forever. Inception level indie music.